Hi, I'm looking to get feedback on the API and feature set for these new library features for creating 2D platformer games using Python. If you haven't heard of it, Arcade Library is an easy-to-use cross-platform 2D library that uses OpenGL 3.3 support for sprite drawing. Recently, Arcade added some support for TMX maps, which are maps created by the tiled map editor, but the support was incomplete. It was, however, reasonably popular, and we're redoing the API to make this a lot more complete. And I'd like to get some feedback on both the API and the feature set. With this particular setup, you can define hitboxes inside of the tiled map editor. So I can take a look at different items. I've got coins in this case that have an ellipse drawn around the different coins to define the hitbox. I've also got triangles used for ramps, which allow you to run up and down. I've got rectangles that are used for sprites that don't cover the entire rectangle of a grid for the different sprites. And you can even draw a polygon around more complex shape. This works pretty well for games. The ramps, as you can see, work just fine. The coins can be specified with additional properties. So if you go over here with coins, I've got custom properties of points, and I can use this to specify silver coins are worth 5, bronze coins are worth 1, gold is worth 10, and the animated flags are worth 25 points. Also, as you can see, there are animations that are supported through the use of the tiled editor. These are really easy to define and use programmatically. With the tiled map editor, you can just specify each of the different frames, how long they last for a frame duration, and then all you need to do programmatically is just call an update on that list of tiles, and it'll automatically update the animation. It's also possible to use the object layer in order to create animated moving platforms. The object layer allows you to specify sprites in a particular location. And when you've got that sprite up, you can set a change X, change Y, boundary top, boundary bottom. You can use those in your program in order to animate where this particular tile goes. One of the somewhat confusing features is that the tiled map editor uses 0, 0 as the upper left corner, whereas OpenGL and the Arcade library has the 0, 0 coordinate in the lower left rather than upper left corner. Currently, Sprite Sheets actually can't be a sheet. They have to be a collection of individual images. The support for this should be coming shortly to actually have this be one image rather than collections of images, as a lot of people like to use Sprite Sheets. The PyTiled library that this uses is done as a separate library so that the parsing of the TMX file could also be done in a different game engine such as Pygame or Piglet. That needs a release on PyPy so that it can be easily pip installed. Right now the source code for this is in a separate Arcade branch called TMX Update Try 2, and it'll be eventually merged back into the mainline branch when we get a little bit further on it. So if you've got any feedback on these features, how the code is written, you can take a look at the example code on the website. And by taking a look at this example, you can get an idea of what would actually be required on a programmer standpoint in order to get this to work. This code is actually what was used in the example that's shown in the video. It's got support for some sounds in there. It has different sprite lists, one for the player, one for background items, for platforms you can't move through, and for coins that you pick up. The different lists are drawn, support for keyboard controls, and in order to do updates for updating the animation, for updating the player's location using the physics engine, for updating moving platforms, reversing their direction if they hit the boundary layers, checking to see if we hit a coin. All of that code you can sort of peruse through and see if there should be ways that it could be different or simpler. Give feedback and we'd appreciate it. Thanks.